विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमद्भक्ति वेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, श्री नरसिंह देव भगवान की, भक्त शिरोमणि प्रहलाद महाराज की, गौर परमानंदे।
Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Rama. Hare Rama. Rama Rama. Hare Hare. Hare Krishna everyone. So thank you to Anasuya Mataji for beautiful Arati Kirtan. So please give a huge round of applause to her. So this is Prem Niketan Gaurdas here. So today we don't have our President Ananda Mata and Chaitanya Prabhu. They are out of country. So they will be back very soon. So today I was not expecting, not hoping this much crowd, but because yesterday there was Neo Rath Yatra. So, and like, but what Madan Mohan plan is, he called one full bus of devotees from North Carolina. So we welcomed all the devotees from North Carolina to ISKCON of DC. Also we had two full bus of devotees, two full bus yesterday in New Rath Yatra. The Rath Yatra was so blissful and wonderful. So, okay, so our next event is Holi Color Festival here in ISKCON of DC. So that's on 15th of June, Sunday. So everyone are welcome for that. So you can come and join with us. So without further delay, I want to welcome today's speaker. We have Palaka Prabhu. So Palaka Prabhu is the longest serving member of our ISKCON of DC community here. He came to ISKCON in mid-70s and got initiated by Srila Prabhupada in 1976. He served as a lead book distributor for many years. He has printed around 8 million enchanting Hare Krishna pamphlets and distributed them around the world for free. He has also distributed close to 500,000 prasadam, that you distribute lollipop. Almost, yeah? So lollipop to people on Harinam in the festivals. So he is a strong follower of Srila Prabhupada, and we would like to welcome him to speak today. So today's our speaker is Palaka Prabhu. Please give him a huge round of applause and welcome him. Hare Krishna. So another, if you want to sponsor something for Sunday program and upcoming event festival, just we have festival booth outside. We have table, so you can just contact there. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki. Also we have prasadam. So for everyone, I think we are distributing downstairs. I think it's raining today, yeah? So if there is no rain, we distribute outside, otherwise down in the hall.
Hare Krishna. So I was asked by the temple president Ananda Vrindavan, oh, come on, give the Sunday feast lecture. No one's going to be here. After Rath Yatra, very few people come, and now here we have busloads of people. So I apologize. I wasn't really prepared. I was just going to say a few things about Rath Yatra, but we'll see what happens. So we'll start with Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Balava Girivanidhari. Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Haribol. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishnaprasaya Buddhaya Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nivase Sunyavadi Paskata Deshataya Om Gyana Timranyasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chachu Mitam Dina Tasma Shri Gurve Namaha Vancha Kalpaturubdascha Kripa Sindhuve Vicha Patitana Pavivyo Vaishnavivyo Namo Namaha. So a little clarification, there's other Prabhus that are older than me at this temple. By default, I just happen to be one of the ones that's been here the longest consistently. But like Bhaktivinoda Prabhu, he's my senior Prabhu. He's been in Krishna consciousness a lot longer. But anyway, I was asked to just give a brief summary of Lord Jagannath, but you can't include Lord Jagannath without including Rath Yatra. And so just to give a brief history, there was a wonderful king, a pure devotee of the Lord, who desired very much to worship a deity form of Krishna and Balaram and Subhadra. And he prayed that the Lord would appear. I'm just giving a brief analysis. All of a sudden, this big log washed up, but no one could carve it because it was so hard. So he prayed that a great demigod, so he reached out to what's his name? Vishwamrita? No, Vishwakarma. Yeah, Vishwakarma, thank you. So he reached out to Vishwakarma, who is a demigod, and he agreed that he would carve these deities, but he couldn't be interrupted. He had to have complete silence and meditation. So he was carving away, but Indrajumna and his wife, they didn't hear anything, and they were getting nervous that maybe he left or maybe he's not going to complete it. So even though they were told not to interrupt him, they went in, interrupted him, and he disappeared. But because he was carving the Lord with full bhakti and love and devotion, the Lord still manifested in this form that appeared to be unfinished, like an unfinished doll or something, but the Lord appeared. So they worshiped the Lord, and that became Jagannath, Subhadra, and Baladev. So later on, the pastime where Krishna appears, and so he appeared, this is all in the Krishna book, but Krishna appeared, but he had to be moved from the prison in Mathura because Kamsa was going to kill him or attempt to kill him. Obviously, you can't kill Krishna. So he went to Vrindavan, and he was raised as a cowherd boy, as a Vaishya, although he was born in a family of Kshatriyas. And he was there, and he grew up there and had all these wonderful pastimes and associations with all the gopas and the gopis and Mother Yashoda and the older gopis. But then he was summoned to Mathura because Kamsa was causing so much trouble. So his father summoned him to come there and kill Kamsa. So then when Krishna went to Mathura, he ended up staying, and all the gopis and the gopas and Mother Yashoda and everyone, they bereft because Krishna was their everything. He was their life, their soul, and now there was no longer Krishna. So they were serving now in separation. And then the battle of Kurukshetra took place, so the gopas actually went and witnessed Krishna on his chariot with his soldiers and all the armies and everything, and they were amazed. Here's this cowherd boy that we know as Krishna, but now he's a warrior. He's a prince. He's a king. So that was a little baffling for them, but they did see Krishna. But the other residents of Vrindavan were in so much separation, and so Krishna would send Uddhava to bring them messages and give him some updates on what he was up to. And then there was this solar eclipse at Kurukshetra, and the word got back to everyone in Vrindavan that Krishna was going to be there. So naturally, they all wanted to go see Krishna. So they all came, and Mother Radharani was heading it up. She came, and there was Krishna surrounded by military soldiers, and he had ministers and all these people. He was dressed as a king. And that wasn't the way they knew Krishna. They knew Krishna as a cowherd boy. So they wanted to, especially Mother Radharani, wanted to bring Krishna back to Vrindavan. But there was some intrigue around that because Krishna had queens in his palace, and so they didn't want Krishna to leave. And the men, the soldiers, everyone there, they loved Krishna. They didn't want Krishna to leave. So they had to make an agreement that, okay, you can go, but you have to take your sister Subhadra, and she can kind of spy on you and see what's going on and let us know. And then the men said, well, okay, well, you have to bring your brother Balaram because he can do the same thing. Basically, I'm just kind of, making it go quickly. So they agreed, and so all the gopas and the gopis and everyone, they took Krishna's chariot and they pulled him back to Vrindavan. They carried him back to Vrindavan in the chariots. And then, because then Radharani, I have some quotes that Prabhupada had said, which I didn't read in any of the books. It might be there, but this is really quite interesting. So Radharani said, "My dear Krishna, you are the same Krishna and I am the same Radharani, but we are not meeting in the same place. Here you are dressed like a royal king with chariots and soldiers and ministers and secretaries. And there in Vrindavan you are a cowherd boy. And we used to meet in the jungles, in the bushes. We want to take you back there. Then I will be happy." So that was Radharani's prayer to Krishna, that she wanted to take him back. So that's the Ratha Yatra festival. The Ratha Yatra festival is a festival of love in separation. They want Krishna back. So they, with all the different things, they agreed, okay, Krishna, you can go, but Balaram has to come, Subhadra has to come, and they took Krishna back to Vrindavan. So that's the story of how Ratha Yatra actually took place. It's a story of love. And then Lord Chaitanya appeared. Now we're speeding up. Now we're 500 years ago, 550 years ago, Lord Chaitanya appeared in the mood of Radharani. So that same service of separation was there in Lord Chaitanya. And Prabhupada goes on to explain that this Rath Yatra festival is a festival where we are allowed to pull the Lord's chariots, bringing Krishna back to Vrindavan. And anyone who serves the Lord directly or indirectly, or they see the Lord. Even there's one passage where if somebody sees all three charts during the Rath Yatra festival, they can go back to Godhead just by viewing the carts. What to speak of someone who pulls the cart, who dances and claps and sings in front of the carts. All those activities are leading everyone who participates back to Godhead, because they're non-different than Krishna. They're actually Krishna's pastimes. So we're given this opportunity by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, who so kindly appeared here in Washington, by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, that we can participate in these leelas. And that's the whole idea of festivals, and even going all the way back now to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada was born into a family of pure devotees. And when Prabhupada was a little boy, he would copy his father. He would offer prayers. He would pay full dandavats. He would offer prasadam to the family deities. But he also wanted to worship Lord Jagannath in a Rath Yatra festival. So he went to his father when he was 5 years old, and he told his father he wanted to have Rath Yatra. So his father said, okay. And they went to try to build a cart, but all the materials were just too expensive. They couldn't afford to buy the materials to build a cart. So Prabhupada was crying as a little boy, and this woman saw him crying. She said, why are you crying? And his father said, because he wants us to build a Rath Yatra cart, but we don't have the money. And she said, but I have a cart. Why don't you come to my house, and I'll show you the cart. So she had a cart. Although it wasn't perfectly fabricated for Rath Yatra, she sold them the cart very cheaply, and Prabhupada and his father took the cart and they refurbished it and built pillars and canopies and painted it. Everything was exactly the same color as the Rath Yatra carts in Puri. They even had horses in the front. And so Prabhupada, then the neighboring ladies, they cooked a feast, so they had like a regular Rath Yatra with prasadam and kartels and kirtan and drums, and this went on for 8 days, just like in Puri. It wasn't like this little Prabhupada just did it once and he was satisfied, but he wanted the full Rath Yatra as a 5-year-old boy. Can you imagine? 5-year-old and insisting. Prabhupada was like that. He was very forceful in a loving way. He wanted a gun once, a toy gun, and so his father bought him a toy gun, but he wasn't happy with one gun. He said, no, I have 2 hands. I need 2 guns. And his father had to buy him another gun. But Srila Prabhupada always had this desire, even as a little boy, to spread Krishna consciousness, to engage other people in Krishna consciousness. And so we see when Prabhupada came to America, he first came to New York City, and then from New York City he went to San Francisco. And it was a whole different mood with the devotees in New York. New York were very strict and proper, and they did everything right, where California, San Francisco, during the Haight-Ashbury days with all the hippies and the drugs, that was a whole different mood. And their kirtans were even considered wild compared to the New York kirtans. But they sent Prabhupada a recording of it, and Prabhupada loved it. He loved that enthusiasm. He loved that these people that were, druggies coming off the street were taking to Krishna consciousness. So Malati, who was Shama Sundar's wife, she had a tendency to go to like flea markets, and she found this one store down by Fisherman's Wharf where they had barrels full of different trinkets. And so there was one trinket in there that she thought was intriguing, and so she brought it to Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada said, where did you find this? And she said, oh, at the market. And Prabhupada said, are there others? And she said, yes, there's 2 other figures. It turned out it was Lord Jagannath that appeared, and she brought it to Srila Prabhupada. In those days, devotees would go to the store and buy them, and then they would wear them around their neck. And that's how merciful Lord Jagannath is. They wore them on his neck. And so the story goes that Prabhupada told Shama Sundar, who was Malati's husband, who was very good at carving and making things from wood. As a matter of fact, most people know who the Beatles are, but Shama Sundar carved even John Lennon's piano. I mean, he was very good at that. So he made the first Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra deities. And I mean, just to show how merciful Srila Prabhupada was, Prabhupada would come in and inspect his work. And of course, he was addicted to smoking cigarettes. And Prabhupada was so compassionate. He said, I understand it's very difficult to stop smoking. Because Prabhupada walked in and he had a pack of cigarettes sitting on Lord Jagannath. And Prabhupada said, just smoke one less cigarette a day and you'll be able to quit. So who can understand how merciful Srila Prabhupada is? That, instead of, blasting him and just beating him up, Prabhupada's fanned that little spark of bhakti that was in all of us, and he helped it to grow more and more and more and more. So that's how Lord Jagannath came to America. There's an interesting thing I found on the internet, but I can kind of explain it anyway. So when Srila Prabhupada saw the Lord Jagannath, he said that actually Jesus Christ went to, and this is in the Aquarian Bible, and there's other people that say that, there's a part in the Christian history where Jesus actually at the age of 11 or 12 disappeared. There's no record of what Jesus did during that period. But according to Srila Prabhupada and according to the Aquarian Bible, Jesus went to Jagannath Puri and he studied under the priest in Puri for several years. And so Prabhupada mentioned to Malati and the other devotees who were all from Christian backgrounds that because Jesus had so much love for Lord Jagannath, and your country is basically, America's a Christian-based country, that Lord Jagannath has now appeared in your country. The other thing that if you go to Jagannath Puri, not everyone's allowed into the temple in Jagannath Puri. Haridas Thakur was from a Muslim background. He wasn't allowed, and yet the Lord came to him every day. Lord Chaitanya came to him every day, and he told him, just look at the chakra at the top of the temple, and there's Lord Jagannath. So the Lord's so merciful. Even the Bhagavad Gita, 10th canto, Krishna shows us, teaches us how we can see him everywhere. He's very kind. He appears in what appears to be marble or stone or wood or paint. The Lord appears there, but he's also there in trees, in energy, in sound, in smell, in taste. Krishna lets and makes himself available. All we have to do is be receptive. So Srila Prabhupada, before I gave this class, I was listening to all the lectures I could find, recordings of Srila Prabhupada at Rath Yatra festivals. There's only a handful. But every single one, he thanks the people for coming. He said, I want to thank you for participating in this great Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya. And he goes on to say, in some of the lectures, like in London, he's giving a wonderful lecture, and he's saying that even if you can't do anything, just come and dance and take prasadam. Even if you don't read the books, just come and do those things, and gradually you become fully Krishna conscious. So Prabhupada makes sure we do festivals. There's got to be kirtan, there's got to be prasadam, because those things will purify us. Hearing the holy name, chanting the holy name, dancing before the Lord, clapping our hands. It says when you clap your hands, all the anartas are like birds on a wire, and they just fly away. So this process is so simple. And when we go out on the streets, like Rath Yatra, everyone here was at Rath Yatra yesterday from North Carolina. You see all these people stop, and they're taking pictures, and they're looking, and they're curious. We were going out. We distributed yesterday 1,800 of these on-chanting Hare Krishna pamphlets. And we would go up to people, and we'd say, here, this will tell us what we're doing. Well, we divide them to the festival. But just by looking at that, even you flip it over, and there's Srila Prabhupada on this side, there's the Panchatattva on this side. Just by looking at those pictures, they're non-different than the Lord. And so it says someone who associates with a pure devotee, even a fraction of a second, is getting unlimited mercy. So as the Sankirtan movement, Lord Chaitanya came to open those floodgates and break open this love of God, and he's giving it freely. And all we have to do, if we want to be part of that, is participate. And we'll get purified. But in the process, so many other people get purified. There's the story of Ajamil. It's in the 6th canto, 2nd chapter. At the very end of that chapter, there is an additional information. Prabhupada's quoting Vishwanath Chakravarti, and in there he says that Ajamil had no idea that he was calling Narayan when he called his son. He had no clue. And Krishna, it says in there, never forgets a devotee's devotional service, his actions. And so Krishna within his heart inspired him to name his pet son Narayan. So every time he was saying Narayan, even though he was the most sinful person, he was getting purified. Every time he said that, he was saying the holy name without offense. So in there, and when I read this, I had to go back and read it 4 or 5 times. It says that one who chants the holy name once without offense is freed from all past, present, and future sinful reactions. And future, I mean, that's like almost unbelievable, but that's the mercy of the Sankirtan movement. That's the mercy of the Lord, and especially in this age, that's the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we're all members of that society. We're all part of Lord Chaitanya's soldiers or foot soldiers or whatever. In any way possible, we can help spread Krishna consciousness. That's to our eternal benefit. So these festivals, these Rath Yatras, they're all meant to help other people. I mean, we're getting purified, but really the main reason is to let other people come out. The Lord comes out of the temple. People see the Lord. They see this beautiful festival. They hear this wonderful music. They see these dances. They taste this wonderful prasadam. They're all just getting purified. People come up, and like we go out, Bhaktivinoda and I go out, and a handful of other devotees go out. People come up. Last week, this little boy, not this past weekend, but the weekend before, he could have been more than 10, maybe 12 at the most. We were set up. We have open mics. We're at a place where we can be microphone. There's no sound ordinance, so you can hear us from blocks away. And this kid just grabbed the microphone. I'm thinking, oh boy, it's going to be trouble. Here's this young black boy who's going to be like, say something stupid. But he's singing along to the mantra. He doesn't know the words, but he knows the melody. He's musically inclined, so he's singing some Jerbish stuff, but it's the same melody that we're singing. So then I realized he wants to chant Hare Krishna. He stopped to chant Hare Krishna. So we hand him a booklet. It's got the mantra on it, and he starts singing the Maha Mantra with us. And he stayed for, 10, 15 minutes at least. His mother takes out the camera. She's videotaping him. We have Maha garlands that we try to get from the temple. So we gave him a Maha garland. We gave the mother Maha garland. And at the end, he's chanting properly. As he's leaving, he said, you guys are wonderful. This is beautiful. This is great. He's giving us thumbs up. He's walking away and he's saying, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. That's what it's all about. And so many times, people will walk by and go, oh, those are the Hare Krishnas. They're getting purified. They're just saying Hare Krishna. Even the Christians, we get harassed sometimes by Christians who, incidentally, I just was listening to Vishnu Jan's lecture on Rath Yatra. And in that lecture, he says, oftentimes people think us Hare Krishnas are idol worshippers, that we just worship idols. But in the Bible, Moses was taught and given the 10 Commandments by a burning bush. He said, so the Christians are bush worshippers. If they think we're idol worshippers, they're worshiping bushes. But we worship the Supreme Person of Godhead. So God, Krishna, the Lord, is unlimited. He can appear any way he wants. He can appear in your heart. He can appear before you. He can appear in a bush. He can appear in wood, in a painting, in a picture. He's unlimited. There's no limit to the way Krishna can come to us and inspire us and bring us back home, back to Godhead. So, anyway, what did I miss? Anyway, Srila Prabhupada, he was so kind, so merciful that he actually instructed the devotees early on in like 1967, 68. He wanted 200 Rath Yatra festivals carried out in America so that the American people could all get the opportunity to pull the rope and see Lord Jagannath and Lord Baladev and Subhadra and chant Hare Krishna. Imagine if we were doing 200 festivals. in America alone. Now, because of Srila Prabhupada's mercy and Lord Chaitanya's mercy, we do have festivals going on all over the world, but imagine if we had 200 going in America. I mean, we have, what, maybe 25 in America? So we still have a long way to go, but the 10,000 years of golden age of Lord Chaitanya still has a long way to go too. So we can reach that goal, but it's wonderful that so many people, like yesterday, New York, I was surprised how many devotees had showed up for the festival, and they were dancing and chanting, and then I went over, and I was just walking around the grounds, and there was one group of devotees over here doing kirtans. A bunch of women were doing one. And there was another bunch of men over here, and some other Mahavishnu Swami. He had a group chanting over here. And then we went over to Ram Roy, my friend who does the New York Harinams, street Harinams, and they have this incredible, I recommend if you go to Rath Yatra, you have to stop by and sit down and chant with those devotees. It's out of this world. That's the enthusiasm, the purity that's there it's contagious. But that's what Prabhupada wanted. He wanted us to come together and put on festivals and bring the Lord out on the street and let other people get this mercy. And in this one lecture, Prabhupada's talking about Lord Chaitanya came, and every nook and corner of the world, his holy name or the holy names would be chanted. Prabhupada on street corners, on subways and cars, and so it's unlimited, the opportunity we have. It's just we have to make a decision that we're going to participate. And a very good friend of mine, Rupanuga Prabhu, who's one of Prabhupada's senior disciples, he got a letter from Srila Prabhupada in 1974, and Srila Prabhupada said, don't think that Lord Chaitanya is not God. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and his wish will be fulfilled because he is God. He said, so even if every single one of you go away, he'll just send someone else. And then he said, so you can stay and get the credit yourself, or someone else will get that credit. So we're being given opportunity to get credit from the Supreme Lord if we just go out and participate in these festivals. And not just once a year, but we should be doing this always. I mean, we're so fond of going to a home program, and it's wonderful. We sit down, we chant together, we take some prasadam. But what about all these other people that are in this world, that have taken birth right now at this place to hear the holy name? They're being neglected, and it's so simple. All we have to do is go out. People don't hate us, and it's just the opposite. People smile, people wave, people take prasadam, people stop and chant with us. They'll pick up a book, they'll read it. We give away free literature, on chantings. Here's a good example. Has you Prabhu's heard of that devotee Mahotsaha who distributes a lot of books? You know how he became a devotee? Anyone know how he became a devotee? He was in New York City. Paul McCartney had a school of music, so he was going to that school of music to be a musician. He walked past the Harinam party, and they gave him an on-chanting Hare Krishna booklet, 16 pages. He went home and read it and came back and became a devotee. So, but those booklets are Prabhupada. That's pure Prabhupada. These are Prabhupada's words. Prabhupada has that ability to change people's hearts, but we have to be able to give people that opportunity. Another time, Prabhupada said one reason why abortions were so sinful, and you would think, because they're killing unborn babies, but he said the reason is because abortions are denying the living entity the opportunity to hear the holy name, or to chant the holy name. So that means people are taking birth just to be given that opportunity. So we're in a very fortunate position. We have this human body. We've come in contact with Krishna consciousness. We're obviously attached to it or attracted to it. We wouldn't be here right now. We wouldn't go through the endeavor of taking a bus from North Carolina and having to stop in Washington to maybe get a little prasadam. But we're doing it. So now all we have to do is just try to maybe turn the volume up a little more. So instead of like 10 of us coming out on Harinam, imagine if there was 100 of us on Harinam. People would definitely stop. Traffic would stop. And they'd be like, what's this? So the holy name is very powerful, is very merciful. It doesn't take offense. And even when there was articles, like there'd be a news article in Australia, and it was very negative, and they said Hare Krishna like 25 or 30 times, and it was totally against us. And Prabhupada said, how many times did they say Hare Krishna? 35. Oh, it's a good article. Because the holy name is what's the good thing. No matter how it's said, I mean, sure, there's 10 offenses to the holy name. But even if someone is offensive to the holy name, what's the cure for that offense? The holy name. So even if you're offending the holy name, what's the rectification? You keep chanting the holy name. Yes, it'll take you longer, but still, it's there. And even if you're that way, what does Krishna say? In this endeavor, there's no loss in diminution, a little advancement on the path, saves one from the most dangerous type of fear. So even if someone just starts devotional service, just a minuscule, it's never lost. I'll tell you another first-hand example. When Srila Prabhupada was here in Washington, it was our bicentennial, 200th anniversary of America. It was a big deal. Millions of people were coming on that day to see the fireworks and to tour Washington, and the subway had just opened, and the Space Museum had just opened. And Prabhupada knew about it because, the local newspaper was coming and devotees were telling him what was going on. So Prabhupada said he wanted to go into Washington and see Washington, D.C. So as we're taking a caravan, there was, six vehicles. We drive into Washington. As we got close to the bridge where you turn in, you go over the bridge and you get into D.C., there was so much traffic that it was a jam, and people were literally just pulling their vehicles off the road and parking so they could watch the fireworks. So next to Srila Prabhupada's car, there was this American couple, and she had on like Daisy Duke shorts and a bikini top. He had cut-off jeans, and his shirt was tied around his waist. I can close my eyes and see exactly what they were looking like. And they had beer cans in their hand, and we were Prabhupada. Well, let me back up a little bit. So we were bumper to bumper. So Prabhupada says, do kirtan. We should do kirtan because we brought mridungas and kartals. We were planning on doing kirtan in D.C. So we swung open the doors on the vans, and we started this kirtan. So this couple started dancing, raising beer cans and dancing right next to Srila Prabhupada's car. And he said, just see, their spiritual life has just begun. They weren't chanting, they were just dancing. And they had beer in their hand, but he didn't say, oh, look at that. He was seeing what good was in them. And then he talked about those people. I often wonder what became of them. At least 3 or 4 other occasions he mentioned that nice couple in America that were dancing to our kirtan. Even when he arrived in New York, and you can listen to this, he's in the car with Rameshwar and Tamal and a couple other devotees. They pick him up at the airport, and they're talking about how ecstatic it was in Washington, seeing the people dance to our kirtan. And Prabhupada was so pleased. The other thing that people don't realize, that Srila Prabhupada, wherever Prabhupada touches his feet, and you can extend it to the whole planet, I guess the whole planet's blessed, but if you narrow it down, Srila Prabhupada went in front of the White House, and he actually got out of the car, because back then, there used to be pictures of Prabhupada in famous places like at the Eiffel Tower and all these different places. It'd be Prabhupada with his disciples. And there was going to be a picture of Prabhupada in Washington with his disciples, but the Secret Service didn't want to have us there, and they kind of shooed us away. But Prabhupada actually set foot in front of the White House, so that area is a tirtha. People go to the White House, and that ground is sacred because of his presence. So, but Prabhupada's been all over the world. So the whole world is very blessed with his association, his presence. So anyway, I didn't think I would talk this long. If anyone has any questions or anything they want to add, Bhaktivinoda Prabhu? You want the microphone?
Hare Krishna. Sometimes I like to get into the kirtan, and Ananda Vrindavan Mataji, she tries to keep me a little bit civil and not play so loud. But in the first place, this is a drum. It's supposed to be a little bit loud. And I grew up in New York, in Krishna consciousness in New York. And we were at that Manhattan temple. Some people called it a skyscraper. It really wasn't a skyscraper, but it was 12 floors high. And we had, at one point, something like 219 people actually living in that building, devotees, full-time devotees. So when we went out on Harinam, on an ordinary Saturday day, on an ordinary Saturday, nothing special, no holiday, we had 100 people in our Harinam party. And when we turned the corner heading down to Times Square, it was like 7 or 8 madangas. It was powerful. So, yeah, exactly. So when you say how Harinam is nice, I say yes, because my background is full New York kirtan mode, meaning loud and in your face kind of thing. But I would, I would request if you can invite everybody to our Harinam here on Saturday. That's all.
So based on that, everyone here is invited to our Harinam every Saturday. We're very religious when it comes to our Harinam, meaning we're there every Saturday, rain or shine. The only time we won't be there is maybe if we're in New York for this Rath Yatra once a year. And we're there from 8 until about 9:30. At the end of Harinam, there's always some nice prasadam. 4 to 8, 8:30. But anyway, even when I lived in the temple and we had a much bigger, there was a lot more devotees living here. There was probably at one time maybe as many as 50, 55 devotees living here. We would go out on Harinam every Saturday night. Everyone, it was mandatory, but people wanted to come. The only devotees that didn't have to come were a couple pujaris and the cooks for the evening offerings. Other than that, the whole temple showed up. We would take over Georgetown, which is a wonderful place to do Harinam. We would walk around the streets. Sometimes the maitre d's would open the door and invite us in, and we would walk through the restaurant and do Harinam. And it was contagious. People loved us. One time, I remember I used to distribute a lot of Back to Godheads on Harinam, so I would kind of be at the end of the party. And there was 3 men and 3 women dressed in tuxedos and evening gowns. And this one guy just went through the line, started dancing like crazy, and just spinning around in a tuxedo. He looked like a congressman or a senator or something. And when he got to the end of the party, he turned to his friends and he said, "I am so embarrassed. I don't know what came over me. I usually don't act like this." And I knew exactly what came over him. He was inspired. He couldn't contain himself because it's spontaneous. Actually, devotional service is in every single living entity. It's in the trees, it's in the birds, it's in the beast. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Haridas Thakur says that all these entities get purified when they hear the holy name. And Bhakti Siddhanta used to say, even if no one's there to preach to, the walls are getting purified. He said, preach to the walls, chant to the walls. So that's how powerful this is. But people get affected. People like us. People come up. Another time there was this lady, and she jaywalked. We're down a corner, so it's a 4th intersection. There's traffic lights, and people usually stop to wait to cross the street. And this lady jaywalked, and I went to give her an on-chanting and tell her what we're doing. And she said, "No, I need to know right now, why am I so attracted to this?" And then I know why she was attracted. She ended up staying for at least a half hour. She bought a Bhagavad Gita. She got an on-chanting Hare Krishna. She chanted with us. She ate some prasadam, and then she left. I've never seen her again, but that doesn't mean she's not somewhere else. And even if she doesn't do anything else, she's already started her way back to Godhead. It's just a matter of time after that. I mean, it may seem, well, how's that possible? But Krishna says there's no loss. So even Prabhupada even talks about, even if someone becomes an initiate devotee and they go away, he says there's still no loss because they'll pick up where they left off. So you take birth again, but you pick up where you left off. You can't say that about anything else in this world. You amass some huge wealth. You become a Rockefeller or a Ford or whoever, or Bill Gates, and all that money is lost. When you die, all that wealth, you can't take a penny of it with you. But your spiritual wealth is eternally with you. And I'll tell you what, going out and going on Rath Yatra or going out and doing Harinam and putting yourself out there amasses a lot of spiritual wealth. You get a lot of mercy. because there's no one more dear to Krishna than that person who's going out in their, in a lot of ways, not that we're being threatened, but you're risking, you're going out, there's safety, there's comfort, you feel great here, but go out on the street and let yourself, expose yourself to those elements. And Krishna will protect you, but still, it's not the same as sitting in here and chanting with all your friends. But all those people out there are still our friends, and we have to give them the mercy. So I hope it didn't take up too much time. And these Prabhus right here, I have to say, this little Mataji, she is amazing, right? You're amazing? You want to say something? I'll tell you, not this weekend, but last weekend, she took lollipops. We have lollipops that are offered to the deities. Now, people say, how can you offer deities to Krishna, lollipops to deities? But Prabhupada is so merciful that he wants everyone to get the mercy. So, yes, generally we don't buy things at the store and give it to Krishna, but Prabhupada makes exceptions because he can do that. So he says up at the lollipops, what's the harm? It's just sugar and water. And he said, in Bombay, we go to the market and we buy sweets and we offer it to Krishna. So we've distributed almost 1 million of these candy lollipops to people. They have no idea it's prasadam. They don't have to know it's prasadam because prasadam, the holy name, it works automatically whether you know or you don't know. It works. It's like a heavy drug. If the doctor prescribes some drug to cure you of something, you don't know how it works. You may not even know what's in it. But the doctor says you take this and it'll cure you, and it normally does most of the time. But these prasadam candies. So anyway, this little girl, she was going up to people because she saw what we were doing. And here she is, this tall, and they're like 6 foot, 7 foot tall, and she's holding prasadam to them. Now, you have to be really cold-hearted to like say no to a little kid when they're offering you a lollipop. And she was distributing lollipops and giving them on chanting Hare Krishnas. And then she turns to her mom at the end and she says, Mommy, this was a lot of fun. Can I do it again? So these children are taking birth because they're devotees. They're just picking up where they left off. So I don't know if anyone else wants to say something. You want to say? Mataji, you want to say something? These devotees are so nice. They cook wonderful prasadam and bring it out for us every week. So at the end of our Harinam, we have some delicious prasadam to honor. So anyway, it's a wonderful service. I encourage everyone, if you have any free time, just come out. Even if you only come out for 20 minutes, half hour, an hour, just join the Harinam party for a little while. And you'll feel wonderful. You'll feel so much mercy. And you go, we say this all the time. Oh my God, today was such a wonderful Harinam. And then we look at each other. It's like we said that last week. We said it a year ago, and we said it 5 years ago. Because it is wonderful. Because Krishna consciousness is ever fresh. There's always something new. And you just get more and more insight just by participating. So on that note, I'm going to say Hare Krishna, and please join us. And whenever possible, you can spread the holy name to your friends, to your neighbors. I have another god brother. He never tells them, if you say this, all your sins are eradicated or anything like that. He just says, can you say Jai Sachinandana or Nitai Gauranga? And they'll say Nitai Gauranga. And he said, what is that? And he said, it will bring all good fortune to you. And one lady said, oh, I need to say that more often. She's walking away, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga. So any way we can get the holy name out there. I mean, even George Harrison would sneak it into his songs. He wrote a song once, and Ringo Starr, who wasn't, he's a part of the Beatles, but he wasn't really as famous as the rest. And George would write songs for him. But this one song, he insisted that you had to have the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra in it. It became a #1 hit. And in the background is the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. People are hearing it. They may not know what they're hearing, but they're getting purified. And then I heard an interview with Ringo Starr. He said, I really didn't like the Hare Krishnas, but George insisted. He said, but now I love the Hare Krishnas. So anyway, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is very merciful and powerful. And I think I've said too much already. So Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.